Strong personal branding is critical to your freelance success, but having and building a strong, stellar portfolio is even more important in landing those first few clients. Portfolios come in a few different flavors, and it's nice to have options for your clients. First of all, it can either be a PDF-style portfolio, an online digital portfolio which functions like a personal website, or a portfolio that exists on a third-party website, similar to having a social media account. Having at least 2 out of the 3 portfolio options and styles is very important. Many larger clients will sometimes prefer you submit a portfolio in a PDF format, while others prefer a simple link to an online portfolio. It's nice to be able to have that print or digital PDF option just in case that situation arises. Also, don't ignore that third option of having your portfolio on a third-party website like Behance.com, where you can build and add your projects. You have less control over this option, but it's great for those who may not want to build an independent website that requires a hosting plan or a domain name. No matter which of the formats you choose, there's some basic portfolio building basics you should be aware of. First of all, they don't feature too many projects. You may have a detailed work history or tons of great personal projects that can fill up hundreds of pages, but that doesn't mean you should display every one of them. Strong portfolios feature a few projects and present them well with beautifully crafted images and smaller descriptions. Try featuring 3 to 6 strong projects and leave the rest to another link, page, or blog area. They have an attention-grabbing element. This can be a strong quote or a previous client testimonial. This can be a beautifully crafted client project or personal project. There has to be something that makes your portfolio interesting. Recently, I found the use of video appealing in this situation, even for those who are not in motion graphics. You can craft motion videos easily using free software like iMovie or Adobe Spark that features and highlights your work. We will craft one of these a little bit later in this section. I know your name in the first 5 seconds of viewing your portfolio. I need to know who you are before I look at your work. This could be done by having a strong personal logo or name nearby toward the top of the first page or home page. I need to remember your name, so displaying it in a clever or unique way also helps. I may view hundreds of portfolios, and I need a way to remember you and connect you back to your work. They feature your personal work. Not all freelancers have large previous client work in their portfolios, especially when they're first starting out, like many of you guys. I do enjoy seeing at least one personal work, as personal work tends to better display your passions and your talents than client work does, as client work can be limiting. They use simple and clean design elements. They are less focused on the extra junk and more interested in showing you what matters, their work. They use less photos but make them a little bit larger and easier to see the work. They take on a more magazine design layout style featuring important items that are larger and easy to view. They show their process. I love seeing sketches and viewing photos of their raw creative process. I love viewing behind-the-scenes photos of them at work. It just brings a nice personal touch and richness to their work. There's a man or woman behind your work, and it's nice to take a quick peek at that. This can also be showing your brainstorming process as well with authentic sketches so they can see that final finished project. Once again, a story-driven narrative works really well. I've had the chance to hire many freelancers in my 14-year work history. I've had to survey many portfolios and have come to understand what potential clients or businesses are looking for and what makes them quickly turn away. Here are some things that turn me off when looking at freelancers' portfolios. First of all, they feature projects from several different disciplines. You arrive on their portfolio to be greeted by projects that seem disjointed, such as photography over here and then an illustration project right next to it. It's not bad showing off your varied skills, but if I'm looking for a photographer, I want to see photographer projects. It goes back to giving your viewer what they want to see first. This may mean you feature your other skills elsewhere on your portfolio, perhaps in the footer of your website, or have 2 separate portfolios, one for illustration and one for photography. I see graphic designers do this all the time. They'll feature personal photography projects, and I'm trying to find a logo designer, not someone to take my photos. There's always the option of applying a graphic design technique to your own photography, making it relevant to the other pieces in your portfolio. Some skills connect very well and connect directly, while other skills are a little less connected. Also, they overwhelm me with project photos. Sometimes I arrive on a portfolio and find 10 images on the first screen above the fold. When building a portfolio, it's best to have a storytelling narrative approach, guiding viewers slowly through a well-crafted, curated project images or text. Once again, the theme here is less is more. Try to feature less than 5 images on the first home page or viewable portion of the screen. Obviously, there are creative ways to include more, and it's project dependent. But a rule of thumb is if you want to feature more than 5, make sure they're all connected to the same project and not part of different projects. These are just general guidelines. They're not hard rules. I've seen so many portfolios that can break this rule or use multiple photos very well. Some portfolios are just too long. I find this mostly with PDF-based portfolios. They're just too long and feature too many projects. It gets very tiring viewing many projects one after the other. Another reason to select just 3 to 6 strong projects and keeping it at just that. Another thing I notice on weak portfolios is they do not properly introduce or explain their projects or work. I've had to research and hunt down an explanation of what the project is. Even worse, I may not even know what they personally contributed to the project. Did they do the photos and the design? What role did they play? I find having a small narrative or story driving sentences help to explain the project as I scroll through the project photos. Nothing too long, unless it's imperative to explaining your role in the project, such as a UX/UI designer, where text and project descriptions sometimes play an even bigger role than project photos. And lastly, they just try to sell themselves way too hard. Yes, this is a very common thing, and you have these strong statements about how they're the only solution or they're the best way to go, but they just feel like empty statements. Try to avoid cliche and common phrases in your headlines or text. You want to create unique headlines that are custom to you and echo your unique approach and your craft. Remember when we crafted your bio earlier in this class? There's several ways to incorporate your bio in your portfolio. You can have a separate page, or you can sprinkle a little bit about yourself between project photos on the home page. As a creative freelancer, you have more freedom to express yourself and talk more about your personal goals and passions. Make sure you show this throughout to drive a sense of authenticity with your portfolio. I have a great downloadable resource that sums up the last lesson and gives you a few layout tips when we start to build our online portfolio in later lessons. We had a chance to review some positive portfolio building qualities, and we talked about a few of the negative ones. Let's start crafting our first portfolio type together. We're going to go over how to present work in the best way possible, highlighting your skills and talents. We're going to be doing the PDF style portfolio first, so I'll see you in the next lesson.